good you would have been happy to see Faz back at 10, mate.
Yeah, he played well. And then what I'm not happy about is everyone's saying George Ford's going to play 10 and Faz moving to 12. But let's talk about the Chile game. Good to see him back. How hard does Faz look with the skinhead? That's all I'm looking at. Like, he could get angry in a phone box with himself, I reckon. He looks that hard with the skinhead.
He does look hard with the skinhead, yeah. I'll be honest, he does. Just doesn't look happy. Never looks happy.
Yeah, he's just intense. And listen, it was... Do you know what? The first 10 or 15 minutes, we made a load of errors. We're trying to change the way we played against Japan and Argentina, and we were putting width on the ball, making a few errors and all that stuff. But it was okay because it was Chile. And then eventually we clicked into gear. Yes, everyone, it's only Chile. And there's people coming at me going, you think you're great again. Listen, we put 71 points on the lowest ranked team in the World Cup. But we got some more confidence, momentum. Boys are getting touches, second touches, shaping attack. And it was kind of like the perfect scenario, how we didn't start the game particularly well, making errors, but we stuck to getting width on the ball, getting to that edge. Arundell gets 5 tries. One of them, a ridiculously good finish. A couple of easy ones that even actually Jim wouldn't have scored it because he'd probably dropped the ball over the top.
Could he start now in the big games?
That'd be interesting. It's a really he's got a few interesting selection issues now. Similar to Gats, right? Gats has now got an issue. Does he pick Anscombe or Bigger if Bigger's fit because of how well Anscombe played? Well, Marcus Smith was outstanding at fullback. Yes, it's only against Chile, but he added a layer to our attack and an excitement in those wide channels that we haven't seen. Or do you go back to Freddie Stewart, who's so dependable under the high ball? On the wings, you've got Johnny May, who initially wasn't in the squad, scores a try against Fiji, is really good in the Steve Borthwick kind of mould of chasing kicks, box kicks, how, we will go back to type to play in the knockout games. Or you've got the excitement of Arundell on that wing, or there's Elliot Daly, and obviously Elliot played at 13 and he brings his own strength. So there's loads of different questions now for Borthers to try and work out. What would I do, or what will Steve Borthwick do?
What would you do, and what do you think Steve Borthwick would do?
I think you've got to have Arundell in the team because of the X factor that he brings. And then you coach him and coach him and coach him on position and play. Like Richard Wigglesworth has got all the experience of understanding the game that way. And you pepper him with high balls and you work on him. But he has got something that not many players have got. It's like Lewis Rees-Zammit, right? He has got out-and-out wheels, X-factor power. Look at the quads on him. Like his strength in kind of the mid-drift and the quad area just gives him that core, just gives him freakish speed, freakish power. Some people say, and Ashley was like, he's a bit of a space cadet at times, positionally.
Ashley?
Yeah, Ashley was saying
the irony.
Yeah. But, credit to it. 5 tries, one of very few players to have done that. Yes, a couple of them were just easy finishes or whatever. But it was exciting, wasn't it? Marcus Smith at fullback, exciting. Yeah. I don't think Steve Borthwick starts him there. I think Steve Borthwick will go back to Ford at 10, Farrell at 12, Tuolangi at 13, probably Johnny May and Elliot Daly on the wings and Stewart at fullback. But he does have these options now for people that can change the game. And it wouldn't surprise me if he starts Arundell. It also wouldn't surprise me if he's not in the matchday 23 for the knockout games as well, because he is a winger that he can only either start on the wing really, or he can play a bit of fullback, but you're not chucking him in there anymore because obviously Marcus Smith went so well. So the balance of everything is interesting. But England were pretty good. Theo Dan, I thought, played really well as well. Great to see him. We've had him on the pod, and he'll be absolutely buzzing to be at a World Cup and also impact on a World Cup as well. How strong? I know he's come from centre to hooker and all that stuff, but how strong?
You need lads like that, don't you?
Fancy
yeah, that's what I mean. And you do wonder whether there'll be a shift. And like our mates with Jamie George, not saying that Theo Dan should start ahead of Jamie George, but they need a bit of power somewhere. And that's why I think, actually, not based on that game, it is based on that game where Henry Arundell scores the 5 tries that he scores, but it is only Chile. But they need an X factor. And it's like Lewis Rees-Zammit, like you just said then. They just backed him early on, didn't they? Like positionally, wasn't amazing. Defensively, had to work on that in the shot window of everyone and the spotlight. But I think I could see Henry Arundell starting. I think England needs something, don't they? Like they need a kind of spark of something a little bit different. And he will break the 8 potentially as well, which was, imagine that. That's probably what Ashley was pissed off about. Yeah.
Pod.
Rugby pod.